And now, it's that time of the week once again. Welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast with your host, Tom Whittle, your ticket to the home of aviation podcasts. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Thank you to our channel member, Carl Crawford.
Good evening. Welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast here on the Departure Lounge YouTube channel. Clear my throat before I do that. I hope you are well on this Sunday evening. First and foremost, I'd like to just very quickly also give a thank you to Lynn Keeble, who has joined the members club. So a big shout out to you. Obviously, you've just done it, so I can't put it into the ending just yet, but you will be in there in future videos. So first and foremost, thank you very much. But I hope everyone is well. We are on episode number 93, so that 100th episode is getting so close now. We got something planned for that, so we're looking forward to sort of, what's that going to be like, sort of about 8 weeks time, I think, because we're going to take a week off from doing it. But yeah, there you go. So you all know my name by now, so I don't need to go on to it. Plus, it's on the screen. It's just me this evening. Tonight, we are talking about what we should have spoken about last week, which was, of course, British Airways Flight 38, which 15 years ago this year came down just short of runway 27 left at Heathrow, narrowly avoiding petrol stations and things like that in something that was deemed a little bit of a miracle for such an innocuous accident that probably, could have been avoided, but it happened. So we're going to dive into it. We're going to see what the issues were and everything else. And we've got some pictures as well that might not have been seen before. So we'll get into that shortly. But first, let's have a look and see who's in the chat this evening. Of course, brand new member Lynn Keeble is there saying all good. Obviously, hello to everybody as well. So good evening to you. Other names we have are Jack Rolls. Evening to you. Darren Graham Photography. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Max at TV Live. Always good to see you there. Steve Plains. Good to see you. Carl Crawford, of course. Thank you to yourself. Obviously for being part of the membership. Hope you are well. Jim Gemmell, as always. Always good to see you. Having his weekend ruined. I can imagine why. Rob Brown, Plane Spotting, good to see you. Serena, good to see you there. Who else is there as well? Wayne Hartshaw as well, good to see you there. So we'll go through some housekeeping first before we go into the main bulk of the show. And of course, we'll have a very quick mention of Flybe. So we'll do that in a second. But we are on social media, as you know, so you can keep up to date with anything that's happening with the podcast on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, where you can find tweets, posts, and God knows what, old photos, etc. They get posted. So if you're not part of that, do get involved and put a like or subscribe or follow, whatever you want to do. Onto those socials. We have a merch shop as well. The merch is now all updated with the brand new logo. So none of the old logo stuff's on there now. We've redesigned it all to have the new logo. So do go and grab t-shirts and mugs and cups and whatever else you want, to grab. You also have, I mean, this is the older graphic, but these pictures or these t-shirts do still exist. So by all means, they will just have the brand new logo on, except rather than the excuse me, hang on, frog in my throat. Yeah, so they'll have the new logo on basically rather than the old logo. So do go and get those whilst you can. There we go. Bring that back up as well. Obviously, share your thoughts this evening about Flybe, or of course tonight's topic of British Airways Flight 38. And of course, if you want to be a guest on the show, we are looking for somebody for next week. Next week is our Rate My Livery show. And as we like to call it, the Savage Sunday. This is coming back next week. It is, of course, Rate My Liveries. If you fancy being in the hot seat for Rate My Liveries, drop me a message on any of the social medias and we'll get you on the show and put you in the hot seat and go from there. Right. So, like I said, get your thoughts and everything else in for tonight's topic and this. Obviously, massively sad that Flybe have gone under again into administration. No less than not even a year since they came back. Very, very sad. My dream of wanting to get on the Dash 8 seems to not want to happen. So it's a shame. It's a shame. But yeah, let me know what you think or your thoughts were. Was it a shock to you, or was it sort of something that you expected? That will be sort of the topic for tonight in the comments. Other than that, we'll jump into tonight's main topic. So for those that were sort of old enough to remember, there's a few younger people that might sort of have been too young for it. But back in January of 2008, I was at school then. Something happened which was a little bit of a shock to a lot of people. I'm going to put one image up on the screen now. I'll show you my image first. This is what I took literally a couple hours after it happened. That is my image. I had to stand on an electrical box. Don't know how wise that was, just to be able to look over the fence. But we are, of course, talking about the events of British Airways Flight 38 from Beijing. Aircraft involved was, of course, the Boeing 777-200 ER, registered Golf Yankee Mike. Up until then, I believe it was the first hull loss, I think, of a 777. So the 777, known as quite a safe aircraft, of course. And obviously this incident back in 2008 became the first of the aircraft's type to be declared as a loss, which means it was written off as well. So between January and sort of, I don't know really, I can't think when it was taken away. It must have been about a good couple of months or so. So for a good couple of months, the aircraft sat at Heathrow, obviously away from the runway with the tail removed, and it was just the body, and they obviously had to obviously have sitting elsewhere. But it was a weird situation at that time. I heard about it when I was at school, and couldn't quite believe the sight that sort of saw me. It is shot. Yes, I know. They're all coming in now. Very good. I mean, Jack's attempt isn't very good. Jack's attempt isn't very good. At least you have some good voltage for that picture, Tom. Very good. But yeah, Jim, very good. Standing on an electric box, shocking behaviour. I know. It was electrifying at the same time. So yeah, so that is my image. It's crazy to think that this happened. But I want to know your thoughts and stuff. Like I said, I've got pictures that I think I've never seen before that I'm going to bring up as well, as we sort of go into a little bit of detail. So what was basically Flight 38? It was a flight from Beijing, which is obviously the standard flight. The number actually still operates now with the 787, flying from obviously Beijing to Heathrow. The subsequent reasoning for the aircraft coming down apparently was in one of the sort of reports that I've read through the Air Accidents Investigation Branch. says that fuel starvation caused by ice in the fuel oil heat exchangers, which obviously cut power to the engines on short final. And it was a horrible day for the weather and everything else. Were you buzzing when you took the... Yeah, look at this. I mean, I'll get to your comments, literally, but all the electric comments are coming in with Wayne Hartshorn pointing out or saying, was I buzzing when I took... Yeah, it was electrifying. I'm telling you, like, honestly. Charged me right up, it did. But, yeah, so it was a mucky day for flying and things like that. And luckily, one spotter was at Heathrow, and this is kind of like the harrowing pitch. Not obviously, no one passed away and things like that, which is why we're talking about it. Obviously, the crew were very good in terms of bringing the airplane down on the other side of the fence, sort of thing. Because if you know 27 left in the approach and things like that, you've got the petrol station, you've got obviously the housing estates, and you've got the approach into 27 it does go over housing estates and things like that. So there was a case of real panic, but they did really well to bring it down away from the petrol station, which could have been a lot worse, and obviously away from housing estates, which could have been a lot worse as well. But one spotter took this picture as it was coming in. I can only imagine what it must have sounded like if there was any noise at all. But God knows what he was thinking. Here's the picture. These are the sort of the final moments of flight of BA 38 on that day. Yeah, honestly, I wish I hadn't told you I was standing on an electrical box now, honestly. So yeah, this is the picture that somebody took. So I just want to kind of take this in. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you were this person taking the picture, what would you be thinking? And I'll read out some of your electrifying comments. MaxJet TV Live says, that's a smashing picture of the incident. I was 3 years old before the crash happened. You lot, honestly. Stop. Honestly, Jack there with... Tom had chills. He's multiplying and he's losing control because the power it was supplying was electrifying. Well, you better shape up because clearly you need a man, Jack. Oh dear, I don't know. Wayne Hartshorn saying that the pilots are heroes for their quick reactions. I completely agree. Like I said, I was at school at the time, so I got told about it through one of my plane spotting friends that I had. And I sort of couldn't believe it. So the moment I got home from school, it was a case of like, I need to get on the bus and go and have a look for myself. And there it was, like literally just sat there. It was absolutely, it was so frightening. Obviously the nose is pulled up to try and keep it from obviously plummeting down. But I mean, God knows what they must have been thinking. The other picture that he took was the impact, which you can, again, those of you that know Myrtle Avenue or 27 left will get an idea literally for how close this was. Here's the picture. Now, normally they're not that low, but that is the moment of impact. You can see that the dirt was being kicked up. The engine's obviously kicking in as well. Loads of dirt being thrown up. That is the moment that plane came down. And like I said, those that know Myrtle Avenue know that the plane is about another 5 seconds away from touching down. So we'll just have a moment to kind of let that sink in. I'll go through some more comments here. Jim Gemmell, I'm going more comments. He's going to rock down to Electric Avenue. It's a great song as well. Eddie Grant. Very good. I like it. Wayne Hartshorn says he low. Damn, yeah, he's very low. Like I say, if you know 27 left, you know that you know he weren't supposed to be that low, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse. Obviously, you got that the dual carriageway there as well, the A30 or the perimeter road there. it's crazy. I want to know like your thoughts and things like that. Just throw them into the chat as we go through the incident as well. So I kind of think it needs a little bit of attention. I think there'll be people that again wouldn't know about this sort of situation due to, like I say, potentially being either too young or may not even have been aware of it. May not even be aware of it. So I think it deserves sort of a little bit of recognition. I think. Rob Brown plane spotted. Pilot retracted flaps by 1 notch, enough to carry it over the fence. Absolutely. You can tell that obviously it's not a full flap landing, just to give it that extra bit of glide. Darren Graham photography. I remember getting a call from a mate telling me a plane had just crashed by Hatton Cross, only lived 5 minutes away, jumped in the van and headed that way and parked Great Southwest Road, got on the roof of the van. That's it. I lived in Feltham when this happened. And like I said, as soon as I got out of school, I was like, I'm dropping my bag off and getting the bus and going straight over there because I couldn't quite believe that something like that would happen. Like, you don't expect it at your home airport sort of thing. But yeah, it was a strange one, very, very strange one to witness. Really, you sort of stood there and you couldn't really quite believe it, even though you knew no one had obviously been injured. I think there was a couple of injuries. Obviously everyone survived. There was 152 people on board, 136 passengers, 16 crew, 47 injuries, one very serious injury, but everybody survived thanks to the heroics of the pilot. Carl Crawford says, oh my God, you can see flames under the wing. Again, another sort of harrowing idea, really, for what it must have been like, let's say, for this photographer to witness this happening. Because, like I say, many times I've been to Myrtle Avenue, and literally, like the plane at that sort of angle should be at least another 5 seconds in the air. So for it to come down there, you can see just how close it was to being quite catastrophic, especially around the area of around sort of the area of where the petrol station is and things like that. So it could have been, like I said, a lot worse. The more electric comments are coming in. Right, I'm glad this picture is up so I can give you an idea as to what I was standing on. You see that big, like, dark green box? That's what I was stood on, but it was further up, right? That's what I was stood on. Did you get a discount for your electric bills for standing up for unappreciated electric boxes? Sadly, no, I didn't, unfortunately. Serena saying, it must have been frightening for those on the flight. Quite frankly, the pilot was an extremely quick thinker, acted accordingly, and saved so many lives. It should be recognised more. They'd have trained for this sort of scenario, but they would not have expected it to happen literally moments before they were due to touch down. So it gives you an idea. Another picture, from more of a close-up sort of thing. There's a damage. So you can imagine the thump that it must have had. Obviously, no engine power. It was a case of literally just bring it down, ripping the undercarriage off. Jim Gemmell providing some information that they scrapped in April. Yeah, so it must have been sat around for about 6 months or so, taken off, and then was taken out of the airport. Or I think was it broken up at the airport? I'm sure it was broken up at the airport. I can't quite remember now because it was such a while ago. But that's the incident there. Basically, that's what happened. Ripping the main undercarriage off. It's scrapped at Heathrow. I thought it was. Jack Rolls, I thought I saw that on the last flight sim stream. Tom, you're going the right way for a ban, Jack, at the moment. Going the right way for a banning. More information on Yankee Mike. It was new to BA in May 2001. So for it to happen in 2008, it was only 7 years old. Rob Brown plane spotting. Rolls-Royce have redesigned the fuel oil heat. Sorry, I'll do that again. Rolls-Royce have redesigned the fuel oil heat exchanger. Took the AAIB a while to figure it out. Was the old Sherlock Holmes discount everything else, and whatever is left must be the answer. Lynn Keeble, engine covers look like they've just been peeled back. Pretty much, for it to totally write the aircraft off, it was a complete and utter mess on the ground. But thankfully, on the other side of the fence, not obviously our side, where we'd normally do some spotting and things like that. So there you go. There you go. See, that's why we bring up these situations. Lynn Keeble didn't know about it, but I've only been into aviation for 3 years. So that's why we do these sort of scenarios, because it educates people at the same time. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. First, it's the flight sim landings, and now it's standing on an electrical box. Honestly, you lot. Terrible. A little bit more about the flight. There were indications that it was sort of not going well, actually, before it happened. But just looking, because obviously I've done a little bit of research, so I'm just trying to go through my notes here. So I'm trying to get everything in order. So basically what happened was, obviously when you're cruising at cruise altitude, obviously the air is a lot colder up there, which is why aircraft have like the anti-icing systems and things like that. Apparently what happened was that small quantities of water in the fuel froze, but the fuel itself didn't. And the ice adhered to the inside of the fuel lines, which probably where they ran through the pylons that were attaching the engines to the wings, sort of thing. So that sort of area. So obviously fuel is stored in the wings of the planes as well. And obviously it didn't have any effect on the aircraft until it started its approach into Heathrow. And the first symptoms of fuel flow restriction were noticed at an altitude of 720 feet and 2 miles from touchdowns, when the engines reportedly failed. This is what's been written on the reports. Repeatedly failed to respond to a demand for increased thrust from the auto throttle. In attempting to maintain the instrument landing system glide slope, the autopilot sacrificed speed, which was reduced to just 108 knots, which is the equivalent of 124 miles an hour at 200 feet. The autopilot disconnected at 150 feet as the co-pilot took the manual control. Meanwhile, the captain reduced the flap setting from 30 to 25 degrees to decrease the drag on the aircraft and stretch the glide, which is what Rob Brown was saying earlier, which was to raise the flaps up a bit to stop. Oh my God, I keep whacking my microphone. Which is to basically stop the drag. There you go. Stop the drag, so obviously the plane would glide for a little bit longer. So yeah, it's once if you read the report, it's staggering how much you know about it. Honestly, I go read my notes and literally I'm looking at like Wayne Hartshorn. Honestly, another one that's in for a ban. Do you know where his trip switch is, in case Tom does? Honestly, you lot. Lynn Keeble says it's amazing that they got it down. It's astonishing. Yeah, it's astonishing. Let's have a look a little bit more about the report that happened. So it happened at 12:42. The aircraft passed just above traffic on the A30. So the thing is, if anyone's driven on that A30 on that perimeter road around Heathrow, or like for example, whether like the Horsefield is, or underneath the actual approach, they'll know that they're quite low as it is. Like when the planes go over you, can you imagine this plane? Like if you're just going for a stroll and you see this plane literally struggling, and it must have been literally house roof height going straight over the top of you. Very unlike it, and it must have been like so scary to see because you're just witnessing something happening that, again, you wouldn't expect to see at your local airport. So the aircraft obviously landed short. The report says that it landed 270 meters short of runway 27 left. The captain declared an emergency to air traffic control a few seconds before landing. The decision to raise the flaps allowed the plane to miss the ILS beacon within the airport perimeter, thus avoiding more substantial damage. So more smart thinking on their front. Just bear with me a second. Just getting some. Let me just have a quick nosy while I'm. Oh yeah, here we go. Right, just going to do this. Bear with me 2 seconds. So we've got some photos that have been sent to me by Darren Graham. Thank you very much. So I'll tell you, it's good pictures, really good pictures. Let me bring them up onto the stream. Hang on a sec. Let's have a look. Right. If anyone else obviously is old enough to have had photos of the plane, just bring that up a bit. There we go. If anyone's old enough to have got photos, such as, like I said, this one being mine, Darren Graham has very kindly sent in his, so you can see just how short from the runway. If I do that picture, there you go. That's probably a better sort of image. So yeah, it does give you an idea, and I'll say that's probably sort of the same sort of area that I that I stood in on said electrical box. Let's have a look. Jack Rolls, you think that the 777 is the older brother to the 787, and that occurs, but getting to know the facts and figures shows that safety protocols of each of the aircraft. It's just simple sort of not realizing that ice was forming. I think that's pretty much what it is. Rob Brown, route from Beijing took the cold Siberian corridor, which promoted ice formation in the fuel, which naturally, being sort of out that way, it's being really, really cold. Is only sort of natural for that to happen. But I mean, yeah, it's it is crazy. Sort of, I want to sort of know where you were really when this this sort of incident happened, and what you thought. And of course, like I say, get your thoughts in about Flybe as well. I've seen a few comments, but they may have disappeared, so do continue getting those in. Yeah, so a bit more about what the report says, and obviously I've done the research on it, so I'm just going through the notes that I've got. It says during the impact and the short slide over the ground, the nose gear collapsed. The right main gear separated from the aircraft, which, as we can see in that picture there, that's the gear that you can see there. And the left main gear was pushed up through the wing itself. The aircraft came to a rest on the threshold markings at the start of the runway. A significant amount of fuel leaked, but no fire started. One passenger received serious injuries, which were reportedly concussion and a broken leg, and 4 crew members and 8 passengers received minor injuries. gives you an idea for the impact. Wayne Hartshorn was at college. It is. It's quite. I mean, like I said, when you read the actual official reports and stuff, it is bizarre. Very, very sort of. It puts you in perspective as to what it must have been like on board. And sort of the aftermath of it as well was that all flights in and out of Heathrow were halted for a short time after the accident. There were some diversions as well. 24 flights were diverted to Gatwick, Luton, and Stansted. In an attempt to minimise further travel disruptions, Heathrow received dispensation from the Department for Transport to operate some night flights. So obviously, people know that Heathrow has a curfew. Heathrow have a curfew, and of course they have to get special permission to operate sort of after about 11 o'clock, something like that. In regards to the actual aircraft itself, on the afternoon of the 20th of January 2008, two cranes lifted the aircraft onto wheeled platforms and removed it from its resting place. It was towed towards the BA maintenance hangars for storage and further inspections by the AAIB. And then the aircraft was obviously declared to be damaged beyond repair. And it was written off, becoming the first 777 hull loss in history. It was broken up and scrapped in the spring of 2009. The dismantling and disposal was handled by Air Salvage International, or ASI. I also think, if I'm correct, I'm just re-looking through here because I've made some notes. I'm pretty sure I've read something like there's a book as well. There is Captain Peter Burkill, who was obviously the captain on the plane, released a book called 30 Seconds to Impact that denounced BA's treatment of the situation following the crash. Just trying to see what I'll read out a few of the quotes that he said as well. So he said that in an interview, the senior first officer, John Coward, who was the guy who brought the plane down, he said, as the final approach started, I became aware that there was no power. Suddenly, there was nothing from any of the engines, and the plane started to glide. Both of them were grounded. Both Burkill and Coward were grounded for a month following the crash. So they were assessed for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. 5 months later, Burkill flew again, taking charge of a flight to Montreal. But he apparently remained haunted by the incident and took voluntary redundancy from British Airways in August 2009. So, I want to know what we think about that. Jack Rolls, thank you very much for the super chat. I'm going to bring up your message now. Just a little something to say. Keep up the amazing podcast, even though you've got a Muppet that burns and leaves food in the oven for 14 minutes, especially when it's only supposed to go in the sodding microwave. Yes, there you go. Thank you very much for the super chat. Very, very kind. Let's have a quick look through some of the comments here as well. That's comments on Flybe. We'll get to those shortly. Rob Brown featured on an episode of Air Crash Investigation along with Air Canada's Gimli glider and Air Transat's longest glide into the Azores, all cases of fuel starvation. I think it's the Air Transat one, the one that's like the record, isn't it? I'm sure it is. It's a record that the longest a plane has glided or something like that. Darren Smith, good to see you. I hope you had a decent time in the UK, and obviously your flights with Norse. Hopefully they were wonderful and good to you. Good to see you here. Lynn Keeble says, I'm not surprised that he couldn't go back. Yeah, I mean, you'd be worried, wouldn't you, if you were... I mean, some pilots are, they're made of stone and sort of thing, But yeah, I mean, I would be affected by that, imagining if that was to happen again. It's a strange one for me. I don't know. It's an odd one. Like, obviously, 5 months is not a huge amount of time. It's not a huge amount of time to try and get over sort of what happened. But I mean, he did end up writing a book about it, like I say, 30 Seconds to Impact, which, like you said, denounced BA's treatment of the situation following the crash. In November 2010, Burkill rejoined British Airways, so he wasn't out for too long, just over a year, I think, stating that he's delighted that the discussions with British Airways have come to a mutually happy conclusion. In his opinion, British Airways is the pinnacle of any pilot's career, and it is his honour and privilege to be returning to an airline that he joined as a young man. What also happened was that the 16 crew members on board were awarded the BA Safety Medal for their performance during the accident, and the medal is British Airways' highest honour. And on the 11th of December, the crew received the President's Award from the Royal Aeronautical Society. And as I mentioned, British Airways Flight 38, the flight designation continues on its Beijing to Heathrow route, operating out of Beijing Daxing International Airport, the brand new one at Beijing, usually operated on a 787 Dreamliner. So it's there have been several theories as to why the airplane came down, which had to be rejected. Some of those, for example, were potential for bird strike. There was a lot of rumors going around that a bird strike had sort of brought the plane down. What are you on about, Jack? Honestly, I'm just looking at... So Jack Rolls saying, I'm not going to lie, Tom, I'm the younger version of... Oh, right, okay. I'm the younger version of Rodney Trotter from Only Fools and Horses. I'm that bad. I don't think Rodney was that much of a plonker. I'm trying to think who you remind me of. You remind me of somebody. I can't think who it is. I'll come back to you. Honestly. So there's obviously reports that a potential bird strike was the reason why the plane came down, but that was rejected. Other sort of theories were to do with core engine icing, wake vortex encounter, and they were obviously all rejected at the same time. But they, like I say, the AAIB, try saying that after a few pints, issued a full report on the 9th of February 2010 to say that the investigation identified that the reduction in thrust was due to restricted fuel flow in both engines, which of course was created by the ice forming. However, not the first time that has happened. There has been similar incidences, including 777 aircraft, such as November 2008, Delta Airlines Flight 18 from Shanghai to Atlanta on a Rolls-Royce Trent-powered 777, which of course is what BA had, experienced an uncommanded rollback of one engine while in cruise at 39,000 feet. The crew followed manual recovery procedures and the flight continued without incident. Basically, they had also had ice forming in one of the engine sort of intakes, and that was the reason why the engine pulled back. Another one was talk about an A3, another similar. Yeah, so it seems to be like Rolls-Royce Trent series engines seem to have had the problem because an A330 doesn't say who it was powered, who was flying it. Just trying to read the report. So an A330 also suffered the same sort of thing early 2009. These inquiries led Boeing to reduce the recommended time that the fuel on the 777 aircraft equipped with Rolls-Royce Trent 800 series engines be allowed to remain at temperatures below -10 from 3 to 2 hours. A lawsuit happened as well. This was also a lawsuit. In November 2009, 10 passengers were announced to be suing Boeing over the incident in the Circuit Court of Cook County in Illinois. Each of the 10 passengers reportedly could receive up to $1 million compensation. The lawsuit alleged that the design of the aircraft was defective and unreasonably dangerous, that Boeing breached their duty of care and also breached their warranties of merchantability and fitness. Claims were settled out of court in 2012. And of course, like I say, there's been TV programs and God knows what else as well. And of course, with what Jim's just mentioned, also had the Trent issues with the Dreamliner. So it's obviously not just the 777s. And of course, we've also had issues with the Pratt & Whitney. Is it Pratt & Whitney? It's Pratt & Whitney, isn't it? Obviously, the United 777s that have had engine issues as well. Wayne Hartshaw. Do you see they released? I'm not going to read the rest of that. Steve Plains, I could I could list a few people Jack reminds me of, but it's not the place for that. No, absolutely not. Not right now. Carl Crawford says, could Jack be Frank Spencer? Brilliant. I like it. Darren Smith. If BA-38 had started its engine problems 10 seconds earlier, it would have crashed onto the BP petrol station at Hatton Cross, and that would have been a disaster. That would have been a lot worse than obviously what happened from what had actually happened. So bit of a shame that this happened, but praise the pilots and the crew for managing to bring it down and to obviously keep everybody safe despite the minor injuries that came from what happened. I don't know how to feel about this one. Can we have Where's Wally taking part of Rate My Liveries next Sunday? Don't we have to find him first? Well, maybe we have, and he's in the chat somewhere. Jack's already found him. Jack's the Wally. Wayne Hartshaw, we need an after Warp Shed podcast. Could get colourful. You want to come and watch the challenges that I do on Flight Sim? They get colourful there. Yeah, definitely get colourful on the Flight Sim. Max mugging off Jack there, saying Wally rolls. Like it. Very funny. Out of curiosity, out of nothing, the challenges live stream for Flight Sim is going to come back at some point this week. Obviously, people wanted to see them and obviously had a lot of fun watching the challenges on, I think, did we do it Tuesday last week? I've got something in my eyes, just bear with me. I think it was Tuesday last week we did the challenges. So we're going to do the challenges again at some point this week. Possibly Wednesday. I think possibly Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that, depending on obviously my work schedule, seeing as I'm now back at work. So once I know what I'm doing and I know that I'm finishing at a decent time, then I'll be able to chuck it in there. But yeah, let's have a look. Steve Plains. New Year's one from a couple of years ago was a show where everything was off limits. Yes, that was quite something. Yeah, that was quite something. That was quite something. Carl Crawford again. It's truly amazing how they managed to bring it down with no loss of life. Yeah, well, just that tweak in flaps. That's all it took. The tweak in the flaps to keep the plane gliding. That's literally all it took. That is literally all it took. So that's why we have to praise them. Obviously, with that one being the first 747 hull loss, obviously we then had the Asiana one as well. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head now, and somebody will probably be Googling it, so we'll go for it. Rob Brown, and Spanish F-18s is still the fruitiest. It is fruit. If you've not seen it, it is very funny. It is very funny if you haven't seen it. I don't have it anymore, I don't think, which is a shame. I mean, what I could do is Max, that's not going to happen. What I might do, actually, is I'll give you a quick rundown as to what the schedule's looking like for the next sort of month or so. I don't know why I keep getting something in my eye. Right, so next week we're doing Rate My Liveries. Week after that, I'm away, so there'll be no Sunday show. But on the 19th, when it comes back, it is, of course, and I'm going to play the thing for this, just not all of it, but I'm going to play the thing for it so people can get excited for it. On the 19th of February, this returns. So 19th of February, write it down if you need reminding. We've got a wonderful lineup of contestants to try and take over. Steve's... Steve has sent me I see. I don't know whether to play it or not because he's blocked me, you see. But I've got it for future reference. What I do want to do, actually, is I want to kind of just... Obviously, I think we've kind of covered as much as we can with BA Flight 38. I want to take you back to Business Jet 1, the inaugural show. And I'd like to kind of relive one of the funniest moments of that show with you all right here, right now. Can anybody guess what the funniest moment was before I play it? It had us all in stitches. I want to know. So basically Steve Waldridge won. Just trying to find a particular area that it happened. When did it happen? I'm trying to find it. I should have prepared this earlier. Should have gone for here's one I made earlier, sort of thing. But the funniest moment that we had from it was Jack upside down, not realizing that he couldn't turn his phone back around. Oh, here we go. We got it. Right, here we go. Oh, I tell you, it makes me laugh every time. So bear with me. Let me share the screen here. Right, here we go. Right, just want to share with you the kind of stuff we get up to with this Business Jet show. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend you come and watch episode number 2. I'm just going to pop myself down here while you have a good giggle at what's about to happen. Here we go. Okay, Lufthansa 747 from Steve. Jack?
A Lufthansa A320-200.
A320-200. Rob Brown?
Lufthansa A340.
And Ian?
Well, I was actually going to go for German wings. one of the old planes, and it's A320.
Okay.
Jack, you're upside down.
Jack is upside down. What's he done? Jack, turn yourself back round. Who remembers it? Come on. Turn yourself back round. Actually, if he puts his arms up and starts swinging, it looks like he's swinging upside down.
Yeah.
Jack, rotate yourself.
He's in
Jack, you're upside down.
You need to go and do it under.
Can't continue without it. Jack, turn yourself back round.
I don't think he can hear you.
Jack, can you hear us or not? He can't hear us, can he?
No.
His internet's gone. I'm looking at the thing. He's 1 bar latency. Oh, don't do it, Jack. I can't read it upside down.
95. 2 out
Jack,
of 10.
what have you done? Swing it round. Hey!
There we go.
I've also decided we're going to do a different approach for the rest of them, I think. Right, there we go. That's enough of that. Jack hanging himself upside down. And what I'm going to do from now to sort of the actual show time is I'll start to announce who's actually going to be on the show. Competing to take the crown from Steve. Obviously, Steve is Steve's the winner. Steve won the first round, so Steve's the current champion. So Steve will be defending his Quizness Jet champion on Quizness Jet 2. And the first person that is going to attempt to take him on is the man we've just seen hang himself upside down. Jack Rolls will be back to try and take the crown from Steve. So we'll try and get some more upside down shenanigans or pretending that he's in Australia by being upside down. So Jack is the first contender. I'm getting confirmation from someone else first, and then I'll announce that one possibly next week, I think. Possibly next week? Or should I do it now? Shall I reveal who else is on it? Like, thumbs up, thumbs down if you want to sort of wait till next week, or thumbs up if you want to know who else might be on. I'll reveal one more person. But yeah, so Jack will be on the Quizness Jet 2. I think Jack finished second, I think. People want to know. People got some thumbs ups. Thumbs up. Thumbs. Yeah, people are putting thumbs up. Thumbs, whatever. Thumbs up. All right. Also, looking to take the crown from Steve is not only Jack Rolls, but someone who is normally a regular in the chat. In fact, I'm going to make you try and guess. First person to get it. So I'll give you some clues. She is normally quite regular in the chat. And your other clue is she is a pilot. See if you can get it. Boom! Straight away. New member. Nope. Sorry, that one there. There you go. Everyone was putting it in there. Alison will be joining us. That's the one I'm waiting for confirmation for to make sure that she's not got her, it's not clashing with her schedule, but she has put her name forward. I had to make it easy, otherwise we'd be here all day. But yes, Alison will also be looking to take the crown from Steve. So we have Jack, we have Alison, and we've got the champion, Steve. There are 2 more people. We have space, by the way, for 4 more people. So if anyone else wants to put their name forward, please drop me a message on any of the social medias. They are in the description below. They're in the description below. So if you want to come and have a go on Business Jet, that's because that's what I named it, Quizness Jet 2, and try and become the champion, drop me a message. Drop me a message on social media and we'll get you booked in. We have 2 more, I think, judging by my board. Hang on. Yes, we do. There we go. Yes, we do. So yeah, so 4 more people. If no one else puts their name in, then we'll go with the people that we've got. So there's plenty of time to get your name in if you want to take part. The other thing, like I said at the top of the show as well, is next week. Obviously, this is back. Who'd like to sit in the hot seat for next week? So it is Rate My Liveries next week. Savage Sunday returns on our cycle of what we're doing. So if you fancy sitting in the hot seat like Ian has, like trying to think of who else might have been sat in there. Jack has sat in there a couple of times, rated his own liveries 2 out of 10. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Yeah, go from there. Carl Crawford says, should invite Samantha from Airliners Live. I have done. There are plans for that in the future, not just yet though. We have spoken. Jim refusing says nope. But yeah, no rush. Just literally, if it's what you want to do, or it's what you fancy, yeah, drop it in the drop me a message. Drop me a message. You want to get on the Quizness Jet for the 19th of February? Drop me a message. And yeah, if you want to be in the hot seat next week for Rate My Liveries, drop me a message too. Let's okay, right. We'll close that portion up of everything else. Let's get on to, of course, the news of Flybe. Now, obviously, I've seen comments and stuff. I haven't got to them. I think they've disappeared now. So if people can get their comments back in about Flybe, for me, very, very sad. For more than one reason. There's a lot of reasons why, but I think for me, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, Flybe. So for me, it's connecting a lot of like people in the southwest that don't have a lot of travel options to like London and things like that. So we've kind of lost that connection again. It is frightening that we now have sort of no connection, apart from Eastern, which are far too expensive to get to London. Oh, all right, they're all coming in. Right, I'm going to go from the top. Let's go. Rob Brown, obviously still scarred from this appearance on the first one. Try drawing a Herc left-handed. I'm mentally scarred. Jim Gemmell's not surprised that it's happened again. Carl Crawford says that Flybe were losing $5 million a week. Jack never got to see them, apart from the old one. Wayne Hartshorn says, very sad it would seem unless you're a low-cost carrier, you can't compete, especially with the domestic market. Steve Plains says, destined to fail, same model, same failure, should have stuck to regional airports, never working going into Heathrow. Jack Rose, I'm wondering what will happen to the de Havilland Dash 8s. They'll probably go off to be like firefighter aircraft again. I have read, and these are purely speculative, that the issue was apparently to do with like the late delivery of new aircraft, and obviously cancellations and backlogs and things like that. How much of that is true, I don't know. It might just be folklore sort of thing. But yeah, I have heard that is to potentially do with it. But it's a shame. It's a shame because people down here in the southwest of England, they've lost their connections to London and things like that. So, like for example, I've got a family member that's over from America, and it helps massively to be able to book these like be able to like come in like into Heathrow and then just book a connecting flight sort of thing from Heathrow down to Newquay, and you'd be sort of down in the southwest within like the hour rather than waiting for a train. And we all know what trains are like at the moment. but yeah, so it's a shame, and of course, like with obviously apart from like Viderö, who are operating Dash 8s into Heathrow at the moment until Viderö pull out of Heathrow. They're kind of like the only sort of popular, or not the popular, but like the most seen Dash 8s in the UK sort of thing. But yeah, maybe they were trying to take on too much at once. Yes, you can. So I just got a message from Jack there. Wayne Hartshorn says using the Dash 8 seemed to rock around be a rock around their neck. They'd be better with second hand. Well, the thing is that the go again. Put my teeth in. We'll try again. The ERJ's 170s apparently was what hampered the first Flybe, or the first incarnation of Flybe, was because they went with the jets, and the jets obviously were taking up so much money to operate. And like Carl Crawford mentions, the Heathrow slots are so expensive, which is why it never worked. Then it begs the question, why did they go from Birmingham? That's one thing I could still never understand, is you would literally think, like for a place that's based out of Exeter, if we're going to go from the old sort of the first like incarnation, why on earth would you go and base it out of Birmingham? That's one thing that confused me, I think, more than anything, was trying to understand why they were basing their operations out of Birmingham. It didn't make sense. Rob Brown Plane Spotting says definition of madness is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Same old Flybe. I think, which now begs the question. Actually, we'll go there again. He's also said that the Belfast route seemed a bit odd as well. It was a little bit strange that they were announcing all these routes that they didn't have aircraft to cover. So obviously Belfast was mentioned, Amsterdam was mentioned. There was something like they were supposed to... They were supposed to, I'm sure they were going down to France or something. Or they're supposed to have, they launched like some routes to France. I'm sure they were. I'm trying to think now. I'm sure that, did they not? Someone will mention it. Someone will mention it. I'm sure they were launching routes to France in the summer. Carl Crawford saying that they should have used Southend as a base. I mean, possibly. I mean, I think there are probably better options than Southend. I think Bournemouth has been crying out for a Flybe-esque airline, even though they have the odd EasyJet and Ryanair and things like that. Flybe would have been perfect for a place like Bournemouth. Wayne Hartshorn says that the Amsterdam route was so much competition, even with the likes of Ryanair and EasyJet. They were just offering it on a cheaper deal, weren't they? Just trying to compete with established. Mashet TV Live, Flybe went from Gatwick once using the Embraers. I was also on one. This was the one that I was on. It's a drawing, obviously, but the real plane of Golf Foxtrot Bravo Echo Foxtrot was what I flew on. 16th and the 19th of January when I went back. So literally, I'm trying to think now, it's 2017, 2018, something like that. About 4 years ago. 4 years ago it happened. Carl Crawford, Luton as a more central location. Luton could have been an interesting choice for them, I think. Even like Stansted. But operating out of Heathrow was probably not the best way to do, unless, like I say, apart from the whole sort of Heathrow down to like Newquay and stuff, which connected people. But I think now, especially that Ryanair we did it on the flight sim stream. I think we did it on last weekend. I think it was where we had a look at the prices for Ryanair to Stansted from Newquay. It was like 20 quid. I think that for me, there would have been a market for like connecting flights. I think like regional and then the odd place here and there, not not what they end up doing. Again, it's a shame, and obviously if they've not learnt the lesson from before, then it is a bit of a nightmare. Wayne Hartshorn also mentioning Teesside Airport have no London route. Jack Rolls says that he's shocked that they never used Bristol as a base, as they did when they were first operating. Well, they did, and then they started operating into Bournemouth, Bristol, on charter flights. I remember catching this probably like literally maybe a day or so before Thomas Cook went bust. There was an Embraer 175 from Flybe that went into Bristol. I'm sure it's on one of the videos that I've got on the channel. London City for business type passengers is a rich target environment. I'm fairly certain they used to do that in the first incarnation. They used to fly out of London City. I'm sure they did. I feel like they did. One other thing that I can mention and actually bring up now is I have picked what we're doing in terms of. It doesn't matter which one, does it? Go with that one. Next Saturday for the flight stream. Obviously, we did Reykjavik to Liverpool yesterday, which after the game crashed on me once. Worked out to be all right in the end. Before I show that, actually, Darren Smith, they should have operated Heathrow to Gatwick as the traffic is nightmare on the M25. Still cheaper than National Express. Every time I've gone to Gatwick, I've always used the train from Clapham Junction. Is it Southern Line or something like that? Southern Trains, something like that. Green Trains, I think they are. But next Saturday, our choice of flight, I flew down to this place today, and it was pretty cool and nailed the landing. So I'm hoping to do it this time around. Next Saturday, this is what we're doing. We are flying from Copenhagen to Nice on the A320neo for Scandinavian. I think I've got it scheduled on the channel. So we've got that for 10:30 to go live. So something to potentially look forward to, as well as, of course, as the challenges that are coming. More landing challenges during the week, as well as we try and make Flight Sim a little bit more prominent on this channel. There you go. Southern. That's what I thought. Yeah, Southern. Thank you, Carl. Carl, for that. Right. Okay. Oh, I think that'll do it. For this week's podcast, unless you want me to stay here for another God knows how long. I don't mind. You can fire questions my way. I don't mind those. Or if people have things to do, I'll just go. It'll be fine. Let me know what you want me to do. Do you want me to stay? Do you want me to go? I'm not going to sing the song because of copyright reasons, and it does happen. I've seen it where people sing songs and they get copyrighted for it. So I'm not doing it. But shall I stay or shall I go? But if I go, you've got to ask me questions. Sorry, if I stay, you should ask me questions. 3 hours, go for... No, I'm not staying for 3 hours. I was up till 5:30 this morning watching the Royal Rumble last night. So I'd like to at least get to bed at some point. Not going for 3 hours. Although if you do want to see a 3 hour show, there is a BA World Tale podcast that we did. It's always worth having a look. Suppose you can ask me things about the channel as well. I think we got something planned for Fairford, I think, as well. That's something else we'll mention as well. We're going to try and do something for the air tattoo. A lot of the team is lightweight. I'm not a lightweight. Not a lightweight. I've been up. What did I do? Go to bed at 5:30. No, what time did I go to bed this morning? 5:30. Then I was up again about 9 o'clock. So I'm absolutely shattered. Can you not see it in my eyes? You see my eye? Look. Shattered. So I think we've got something very, very special planned for Fairford this year. Most of the team have booked to go. We're doing a team day, like a team trip to Fairford, which I think would be quite fun. Let's talk Royal Rumble. Why not? I know Jim's a wrestling fan because he pointed out the quiz show, saying that knew that was coming from Zane last night. Yeah, it was still an emotional roller coaster. It was mental to watch last night. That was the only thing I was literally waiting up for. The rest of it, I didn't really matter. Like the men's match was bad, women's match was decent. Rhea won. I'm quite happy. All right, random questions coming in. Let's have a look. Favorite color from Rob Brown Plain Spotting is my favorite color is very bizarrely orange. Don't ask why, it just is. Other than that, probably a sky blue, I think, but definitely orange. Don't ask why. I'm quirky, a little bit quirky like that. Carl Crawford asks, what do you think should happen with Nuki? You may have to elaborate on that one. MaxJet TV Live, are any air shows back this year, Tom? Pretty much most of them, barring Yeovilton. Yeovilton's not been mentioned. I don't think that's happening anymore, which is a pain if it's not, because it's such a good air show to go to. But I should be booking my air tattoo tickets or the departure day ticket, because I am not paying 65 quid to watch planes that I could watch take off for £20 on departure day. So departure day all day long for me. Steve Plains. I'm not going to read the question out and just go with a simple answer of yes. Yes, it is. It is strange. It's Jack's obsession with getting up at 5 a.m. every week to see the same plane a bit weird. Jack is weird though. Frank Spencer. I think we'll call him that. Rob Brown, not even going to go with that one. Not with a pineapple on pizza. Not going with that again. We'll do that in the comments afterwards, but we're not doing it now. Chocolate digestive or hobnob? Chocolate digestive all day long. I like a nice chocolate digestive. Although a chocolate hobnob you can't go wrong with either, so it depends. Jack Rolls, I didn't realise it was still going to be nighttime, 6:30. Well, I mean, I'd much rather stay in bed if I'm honest. Wayne Hartshawn, I spent £47 on a model for the carrier to go bust. Oh no! A week later, it's already out of date. Oh no! Oh, Wayne. Iron Brew in a bottle or a can? Does it taste better in a... I think it tastes better in a bottle. Does it taste better in a bottle? I think it tastes better in a bottle. I'm sure it does. There is a distinctive taste to a bottled one. Nestle or Cadbury? Who does Galaxy? Is it Nestle? Do Nestle do Galaxy? I think it depends. I think it depends. Depends on the type of chocolate, I think. If it's Galaxy, I'm sure it's Nestle that do Galaxy. Carl Crawford, I'm in with getting more flights or still using as UK maybe. Well, the space flights is still happening, but they are also getting new flights. I believe, I'm trying to think off the top of my head now, Scandinavian are doing flights from Copenhagen, I think, to Newquay in the summer. Oh, there is more. Edelweiss are coming back. Is it Eurowings? They'll be coming back as well. Because Germans love Nuki. Like, Germans love it down here. Yeah, Germans absolutely love it down here in Nuki. That's why Eurowings have started some flights. Any plans to do London Heathrow to Doha or Gatwick or maybe Manchester? I'm assuming that's on the flight sim. Probably not at the moment. Oh god, he's Jim Gemmell. Oh god, he's on two profiles. He'll be talking to himself. This, you literally have no idea, Jim. Like literally, search for it and then come back to me and let me know how many you find. Trust me. Two is nowhere near how much. DC-10 or oh, that's not that one. DC-10 or TriStar. I don't know. I want to slightly lean towards the TriStar. I think TriStar maybe. Jim already knows. Oh yeah, if you know, you know. Yeah. Oh, some of the content, man. Some of the content. It is odd, isn't it? I don't know. Right, I'll tell you what. Let's leave it there. I think we'll leave it there. One I'll throw out there as well. If you want to join, Carl and Lynn on the members list. Oh, good Lord, there's more. Lynn, thank you very much for tuning in this evening and, of course, becoming a channel member. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. Yeah, if you want to become a channel member like Lynn and Carl, click the join button and you'll get your name at the end of the videos, live streams, and you'll have special shout outs like you saw at the beginning of the show that Carl had. Lynn will be getting one for herself as well for simply joining the channel membership for $1.99. $1.99 a month. Like I say, any membership money that comes in will go straight back into the channel. It doesn't go on nice things that people lie about, where it's like, oh, I'd like to be able to grab, or what is it, like something that I desperately need, but actually all my money's gone on something that I don't need, or it's gone on to house things, or it's gone to none of that lying crap. Like, oh, well, my friends, oh, I'm gonna book a flight to Dublin now, so I am, and like whatever. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and force people to do it. Just a way of showing some appreciation for people's generosity, which is the main thing. So if you want to become a member and get some special emojis, trust me, there's a really good one in there. Carl will put it in the chat very, very shortly. If he knows which one I'm on about. There's a special emoji. I'm hoping, actually, I can do it, can't I? I'm sure I can. There it is. Carl's done it. There it is. So if you'd like to use that particular emoji, here come the emojis now. So obviously you've got the channel logo. You've got the pointing down for anybody that's looking for it. There's a special, oh my God, emoji. If you recognize it, and if you know, you know. So yeah, so if you fancy that, click the join button and your name will be put into the list for the next stream and streams beyond. I love the podcast. I've never laughed so much. I'm glad you enjoy it, Wayne. I'm glad you enjoy it. It is it's quite something. I quite enjoy doing these, especially if you can have a laugh at other expenses. It's lovely. It's very nice. Right, cool, nice one. All right, so there's the membership out the way. Like I said, don't throw it down people's throats. It's there if you want to join. Yeah, next week is Rate My Liveries. That will come and be that'll be scheduled at some point during the week once I know who's actually doing it. So if you're interested, drop me a message. If you want to be on Quiz and Chat too, drop me a message. And and we'll go from there. So, time for some shout outs. I'm not going away just yet. Shout outs first, and then we're going. So this is part of the show. Now we will do some shout outs. I'm not going to do any. This is all purely down to you lot. This is you lot giving some shout outs. So pop them in the chat. I'll show them and read them out as they come into the chat, and I'll read them out. So it's you lot that are taking over the chat right now with shout outs. Wayne Hartshaw's going to contact me about coming on the show. Nice one. Do so. So you can shout out friends, family, loved ones, the show, any of the team, etc., etc. Jack Rolls are the first one. Shout out to Tom for being the best host and awesome person. Must be a different person, but thank you very much. Much appreciated. Lynn twisted my arm. Brilliant. Rob Brown, shout out for my wee man Angus, 9 today. Big shout out. Happy birthday. Jack Rolls, any chance for a wee shout out for the channel? Oh, yeah, you've wanted me to video or something, didn't you? I think. Hang on a sec. Jack making me do this. That'd be worth a membership, Jack. I'm just putting it out there. I'm kidding. Wait, how long is it? Oh, dude, it's 1 minute and 41 seconds long. All right, I'll tell you what. I will. I'll play it for a little bit. Hang on. Right, before anyone disappears, here is Jack Rolls' video he took from this morning, I want to say. Hang on. Do feel free to drop Jack a message, please. Not message, a subscribe thingy. Let me just change the... There we go. I'll put myself out of the way. Right, here we go. This is the 2E787-8 that landed at Bournemouth this morning. Enjoy. Shout outs on the screen. That'll do. Very nice, Jack. Very nice indeed. Let me put back to... There we go. Yeah, very nice indeed. Wayne Hartshaw's giving a huge thanks to electric boxes all over the country. Michael Painter, good to see you. Been lurking, but says it's a great show. Thank you very much. Lots of love for Jack with his video there. So good stuff. Drop him a subscribe. He's working on his channel this year to provide some more videos and things like that. A lot of love for Jack's Jack's video. How about an Ian-like Scottish accent attempt? Trust me, I can't do the, apart from the no, I can't do it. I can't do a Scottish accent. Not very good at all. But there we go. Right. Time to disappear, everybody. You'll see the graphic at the end. Like I said, Lynn's name will go on there after the show, and I'll be ready for the next one. But yeah, hope everybody has a wonderful, 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 wonderful rest of the evening. Enjoy your week. Keep an eye out on social media and, of course, community tabs and everything else for the landing challenges, which are coming back at some point this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. But if I don't see you for that, because you'll be doing something else rather, I will see you next Saturday for this Copenhagen to Nice on the Scandinavian A320neo. And if I don't see you for that, I'll see you for next Sunday on the podcast for Rate My Liveries. But for now, take care, everybody. Don't forget to hit the join button if you want to. If you're not around here, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. And, of course, leave a like on the stream if you have enjoyed it. It helps the channel out immensely. Take care, everybody, and have a good working week. And I'll see you either during the week, Saturday, or Sunday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.